Now, to give your wife a Dutch oven sounds bad. Welcome, friends, to my 2025 annual gift guide. I love doing these. Matter of fact, most of this isn't really scripted. I have some bullet points over here on my iPad, but I'm just gonna go through them, so this is gonna be a little bit more of a casual kind of thing, but there are timestamps below if you wanna jump ahead if I'm blathering on too long, which I tend to do. By the way, how do you like the little light over there, making it look like there's like some fire? As a matter of fact, if I put like a fire sound in there, you could almost believe that maybe there's a crackling, warm fire, but it's really not. It's actually just a light, but it's kind of neat though, right? Huh? Little element, little bit of, first, a few rules, okay? And I know, rules to a gift guide, kind of weird, but there are some things that make a poor gift, okay? First is, it can't have an app or a subscription attached to it. I hate that. There's nothing worse than when you get something and you realize, oh, thanks, you just signed me up for paying like a monthly fee. I don't wanna do that. I'm not gonna do that to you here either. Next, these products have to be repairable, resolable, recraftable. You have to be able to fix them. It's not just disposable junk. This is the kind of stuff that you're gonna have forever, or as it's commonly known, the buy it for life stuff. And finally, these are the things that are proven in the real world. And I mean, you can go online and you can find a lot of people speaking to each of these products. Most of them you've heard of before. All right, let's start with the first one, the buy it for life darling, Darn Tough Vermont. Now, socks are probably the least exciting thing that you're gonna get all year, but there's a reason that Darn Tough keeps continuing to surface in all of these lists. They have a lifetime warranty. I mean, literally, you could take these things and cut them in half and send them back and they'll send you a new pair. They have a just completely no BS lifetime warranty. And just a little note on lifetime warranties, it really doesn't matter if they have a lifetime warranty if that company is no longer around. So I really don't like when you have a startup company that is like, yeah, we have a lifetime warranty. I'm like, yeah, but okay, you may not be around in 5 years, and there I am standing with my crappy socks or whatever it is. So Darn Tough has been around for a long time. The other thing that I really like about them in particular is that they actually have a mill and a place that they are, a hosiery place where they're making these socks in Vermont that supports like almost this little town. So a lot of people, a lot of Americans' jobs depend on these products. So that's what I personally like about Darn Tough. There are other great sock companies out there, and if you're looking for an alternative, here's a new one that I just got the other day, and you can tell, I mean, they're still in the package here. This is one of my other favorite companies out of Portland called Dehen 1920. They just came out with these socks, same kind of deal though, these wool blend socks. Now I say blend, and don't get scared off by that. You really do need to have a blend of wool and some other materials to get that elasticity. Pure wool socks really aren't very good. They tend to stretch out, but these are right here. This company is gonna show up a little bit later on. Spoiler alert if you see what I'm wearing. So that's just an alternative to the great socks if you wanna start there. Next up is the classic Nalgene 32-ounce wide mouth bottle. It's been around forever. People have these things for years and years and years and years before they finally either just disintegrate because they've been used so much. They usually don't break. You'll see a lot of people have had these things for way longer than they should be around. Now, my wife likes to do a thing where I think she's having a competition for how many water bottles she can have and different ones that I have to wash and like match up the lids and the straws from Owala to Yeti to whatever. Personally, I like the simplicity and affordability of a Nalgene. Now, it's not insulated, it's not anything that's gonna impress your friends, but these things have been around forever and there's a reason. They're also very affordable, they're about 17 bucks, and they come in a huge variety of colors. So this may be one of those products where you give it to somebody and it's not really the wow factor right off the bat, but I'll bet you in a couple years, they're like, man, you know that water bottle you got me? I use it all the time. All right, so if your gift receiver is into tools, there are some things you can get that will really, they'll be fine and acceptable no matter what. There's a couple tools that I have that honestly, if you gave me an extra one, I'd be fine with it. First thing is this right here, let me show you. So you see that right there? That is an Estwing 16-ounce hammer. These things are available at Home Depot. They're like 20 bucks, 25 bucks, something like that, but they last forever. Another great one for a stocking stuffer is a simple Stanley razor knife. Now, these are the ones that I like because when you drop them, they're neon green and you can see them, especially if you're in an attic or something like that. But I know a lot of guys like the Milwaukee Fastback. That seems to be the one that a lot of guys who I know are carrying now. I'm kind of like the old guy with this one here, but that's the one I like, and they're cheap, so it's like, you can have a few of them, but you can never really have enough. Next up is a flashlight, and I have gone down the rabbit hole with flashlights way more than I really care to tell you. It's kind of embarrassing, actually. And what I've noticed is that there is a big group of flashlights that are really, really expensive that people tend to almost not use. And way back when, I used to carry a Maglite Mini with the little tiny replaceable bulbs in there. There was a bulb in the tail cap, and they had 2 AA batteries, and that was really all we needed. But then I upgraded to the larger, I think it was 3C batteries, and it was, you know, that was a workhorse. I had that thing under the seat of my truck forever. Those are definitely dated, but luckily Maglite is still making awesome flashlights, although I think that they get overlooked for the Phoenix or O-Light or whatever of the world, these more tactical lights. While the Maglite ML300L is a fantastic option for a flashlight, even just general purpose around the house type of flashlight, you're not gonna strap this thing to your hip. And this is the thing with these kind of lights. It's the reason that I carry them is that in a pinch, it could be used as a tool of sorts if you get into a bad situation. That's why most people carried these lights, was because they were multi-purpose. Up next is honestly another classic, and you know, L.L.Bean sends out catalogs still, and I love that they do this. Filson used to do this, and I wish they still did because they had some beautiful catalogs once upon a time. This here is the flannel shirt catalog. I mean, one type of shirt, they have a whole catalog dedicated to it. And I love this, I love looking through these. But if I had to pick one, and there are several in here that are really nice, I gotta tell you, you could go through this and find plenty that are really, you know, something to have. But the one that I have a certain affinity for is their chamois shirt. You know, this is something that my father wore. He had 2 or 3 of them, mostly in like a green or a tan. They were solid colors, but they just lasted forever. And I remember him wearing these when we would go on hikes or chopping wood or whatever. They were just like almost part of his uniform. So they kind of sit close to my heart. But that doesn't matter if it's not a good product. These really are. They're $80. They do now come in a variety of colors and patterns and stuff, so you could find one that's gonna be, you know, perfect for you. Ooh, this fire's getting warm. Can you feel that? It's nice. Next is a dead simple, full grain leather, American-made wallet or belt. Now, I could give you some specific mentions here. 5 Mile Mercantile has some belts that are somewhere between $55 and $65. This is a guy who's working out of his garage, making dead simple basics. I think a bifold wallet from him costs something like $35. You can spend a lot more, for sure. But I like the sort of working man's approach that 5 Mile Mercantile has, where it's simple, it's basic, it's well made, it's good quality, nice leather. Now there are a ton of great leather workers out there, and you can get anything you want or anything that your gift receiver would like. But I personally like the things that are a little bit more simple, affordable, and you're gonna have forever. Okay, another really good one is a decent tape measure. Now, this is just an example. This is the Stanley FatMax. This one actually kind of sucks. I wouldn't recommend getting the Extreme. It's all right, but actually the Klein one's really good, and the regular yellow FatMax is just a staple. But the reason that you can never have too many of them is that you never could find the damn thing. So when you're looking around, it's like I always keep this little one right here, because when I'm measuring something that I put on my vise, it's usually under 10 feet. So this is one that I keep there. Next up is the Leatherman Wave Plus. Now again, Leatherman sits very close to my heart. This is my first Leatherman I ever got. I received this as a gift in high school. This is the Super Tool. I think I don't know if it is the original, but it's very, very old, and it's still in great shape. I mean, even the needle nose still match up perfectly, and I could pick up a coin off of that desktop here. Everything on it works just fine. I've sharpened that knife more times than I want to count, and I could still use this if I really wanted to. But at this point, this is kind of something that I don't really want to risk losing, you know? And that's the mark of a perfect gift, in my opinion. Something that somebody will have that long that it almost is like, it gives like a place of honor on their shelf or something. Now, since then, I've bought a couple of other ones. This is their more modern version of the Super Tool, and there are a couple, I mean, Leatherman has a really big catalog now, but the one that I picked for this video is the Leatherman Wave Plus. Now, this is about 125 bucks, and it has almost everything that you'll need in it. Now, again, Leatherman has a lot of products out there, but this seems to be the one that hits the sweet spot between value and price. You're still getting a great lifetime product made in the USA that is so useful that you'll wonder how you lived without it, but it's not their super duper top of the line $250 Leatherman ARC. This is something that is more affordable, but it's no slouch. Man, I'm talking a lot. I gotta pop a polar. Here's another one, the Lodge 10.5-inch skillet. Cast iron, $25. You can buy them at Walmart. But these are one of those products that, again, will last forever and does get better with time. You probably won't even find a gift guide that's actually decent that doesn't include one of these. It's almost compulsory to have one. And the great thing about these is that, again, they're dead simple. There's no moving parts. There's nothing to break. And a lot of people swear by cast iron. So, you know, you want to get into the game real cheap. And for something that's very useful for like eggs or whatever, I mean, you could use this thing every day. This is the way to go. My friends from South Africa, Jim Green, have a knife, which is really cool. And it's a beautiful looking knife and it's very affordable. This is $29. This is called the Okapi. I think that is, I don't know, they probably say it way nicer. You know, he's got a really nice accent that sounds way fancier than my English, my New England accent. It almost reminds me a little bit of the Opinel knives in a way where it's sort of, they call those a peasant knife, but because it has a wooden handle. And again, I mean, for 30 bucks, this is just something that is different and again, a neat little alternative to the typical pocket knife that you might have on you. Great stocking stuffer. Now, if you like cookware, but maybe Lodge isn't the thing for you, you know, cast iron does have its drawbacks. Well, All-Clad makes some awesome stuff. We have a few pieces from them that we absolutely prize and take very good care of because we want them to last forever. And my pick for something like this would be the All-Clad D3 Stainless Steel Fry Pan. I mean, it's about 150 bucks, which is a lot of money. But again, these are those pieces that you're gonna have for a long time. So I think 150 bucks is probably pushing the upper end of the average gift. But let's say you have a son or daughter or niece or nephew that's just starting out and you want to give them some good basics that they'll have for a long time. This is one of those pieces that you could give to them in their 20s and they'll have, you know, they'll probably pass it down to their kids. Next is the Knipex Cobra pliers. I was so impressed by these pliers the first time I saw them that I never forgot. Now they call them water pump pliers, but more or less what they are is a channel lock style opening jaw plier. They come in a bunch of different sizes, and the Cobra series is something special. There's even videos of a guy who puts these things around a pipe and then stands on the handle because they grab on so well. And really it's about that slide that they have on there. It locks in, unlike some channel lock pliers where it'll sort of fall out of the groove. These are one of those products where you get it and then you almost won't use anything else. They're awesome. Matter of fact, Knipex almost everything is very good. This is just one of the standouts. I personally like their lineman pliers, their screwdrivers. I mean, I've used a lot of Knipex stuff over the years and it's always been worth it. You still with me there? All right, good, I'm glad to hear it. So next up is the Patagonia 40-liter black hole bag. And you know, it seems a little strange, right? You know, why would I be talking about Patagonia when there's so many artisanal makers out there? The reason that this is a top pick, and you're gonna find a lot of people who love this particular bag, is number one, the versatility. It is a backpack, it also is a duffel bag, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. The big thing with this though is the repair policy. You know, Patagonia's ironclad guarantee is no joke. You could buy this, use it. If it breaks for any reason, you send it back. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I actually don't have this bag. I have an alternative to it, which is Carhartt's bag. Carhartt has a very similar type of bag. The Carhartt version is just a little bit different, but it's the same type of concept. And this has been my travel bag of choice. This last year, I traveled more than I have, I think, in my entire life combined. And when it came down to the bag I was gonna use, this is the one I grabbed because, again, going through the airport, you can put it on your back. The thing it has a huge capacity, holds everything, and it's extremely versatile. So whether you go with the Patagonia Black Hole or you go with the Carhartt, whatever, this style bag is awesome. Now, a product that somebody gave me a while ago was a pair of felt wool boot slippers, and I know that like sounds like a bunch of words that shouldn't go together, but these are, once you get used to them, it's hard to go back. Now, I mean, for a long time, I actually wore those L.L.Bean shearling slippers that pretty much everybody knows. The problem with those is that they tend to sort of pack out pretty quickly and they slip off your feet like crazy. Unless you're like shuffling over to the coffee maker, they're not that useful. These, on the other hand, have sort of a rubberized bottom, but they're perfect for indoors because they don't slip off your feet, but they are very comfortable. And they are made of wool, so they have all that antimicrobial stuff to them. They keep you warm, you know, all that great stuff. But the interesting thing about this particular brand, this Green Comfort, is that they are handmade in Nepal, I think, right? Is it handmade, hand felted in Nepal, 100% pure wool. They actually will show you who made your pair of shoes or boots or whatever you want to call them. They, this is the kind of like small shop type of thing that I really like. And, you know, it's one of those pieces that, again, I think when you start wearing them, you go, where have these been all my life? Now, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. These things are about 138 bucks, but I like them. I like them a lot. This next one's a little weird, I know, but I use tarps a lot to cover wood, to cover certain project cars that never make it into the garage, whatever. A good tarp is hard to find. And if you're like me, for a long time, you'd go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you get one of those blue tarps and it would sort of destroy itself by the end of the year. Well, I love the channel Project Farm, and he did a whole shootout of tarps. He even like wrapped bales of hay for a year to see what they would look like at the end. It was a pretty intense, I love that channel. But anyway, the top pick that he had was this weird company I've never heard of before called Campmac, and specifically their heavy duty tarp. Who's gonna give somebody a tarp for Christmas or for Hanukkah or whatever, Festivus? But if you gave me a Campmac tarp, I would be over the moon, because this is a useful product. Give me this and a whole set of bungee cords, I'm a happy camper, I'm telling you. The last one I want to talk about is Vermont glove. Now this is a brand new pair of gloves. They don't look like this very long, but my favorite work glove in the world is the Vermont glove Vermonter. Matter of fact, the first time I ever saw those, I was working with a lineman who, you know, pulled these things out, and he's like, hey, you ever see these before? And I had never heard of them, and I ordered a pair like that day, and they are awesome. Anybody who has a pair of these Vermonters will tell you that they are just incredible. Again, handmade in Vermont, and they just came out with these, which are a different style. So these are kind of sewn inside out and then, you know, turned out. Like, this is kind of a normal style glove that you would see, whereas the Vermonter has like an external seam on it, maybe a little bit more durable, I don't know, but I love this brand. I swear by them. The Vermont gloves are my favorite, and if there were a pair of these in my stocking, I would say, why did you do that? Because I already bought a pair. But if you were to give them to somebody else, I think it'd be a really good thing, because, man, a good pair of work gloves, they're irreplaceable. Actually, you do have to replace them, but a good pair of work gloves is great to have. All right, we're gonna kind of break things down here into heirloom level. Now, the stuff that I've mentioned to this point has been relatively affordable, whether it's 75 bucks for a flannel, or 100 bucks for a pair of gloves, or 15 bucks for a Nalgene bottle. You probably found something in there that has been decent enough and affordable that you could give it to somebody. But now we're gonna talk about products that you will have forever, or somebody will open up and go, holy moly, I've never seen anything like this. This is truly better than I ever thought it could be. And I'm gonna start with what I'm wearing right now. This is from Dehen 1920. This is the Shawl collar sweater jacket 2.0, something like that. I don't know. I'll put it up on screen. You can see what it is. This damn thing is like 4 pounds of 100% wool, and it is expensive. I think it's like $425 if I remember correctly. But I bought one. And now Dehen is a great brand and stuff like that, but I buy the stuff that I get from them, and I've bought several pieces because I am such a fan. I bought this thing and I said, okay, this is something that I need in my life. And I ended up buying a second one the next year in gray. But this thing, first of all, it's as comfortable as any hoodie that I own. So like, you could put this thing on, lounge around the house, take a nap, whatever it is, and just be super duper comfortable. But it also looks extremely dressed up. Like you could wear this to almost like all but the most formal occasion. And I've worn this thing over a shirt and tie, and people go, whoa, where are you going, you know? It's very rare that you could find a piece that can do both of those things. This does though. It's American made, like I said, 100% wool, really end level kind of stuff. I mean, it is as good as any sweater I have ever felt. And I love the heft of it. I love the versatility, the fact that it has pockets. What the heck's in my pocket? So I know a lot of people are gonna say, man, $400, $425 for a sweater, are you crazy? Yeah, maybe I am, but this is truly like the best sweater I've ever worn. Once upon a time, I would have mentioned Filson as far as like a bag goes, whether that's a backpack or something like their original briefcase, but Filson isn't what it used to be. Their prices continue to go up as their quality seems to tend to slip. And that really breaks my heart, because a great, wonderful, old American brand, like, what happened? But anyway, I think that there are other brands that are picking up where Filson left off, specifically Bradley Mountain. Bradley Mountain, in my opinion, to this day, makes probably the best alternative to Filson bags ever. They are sort of what Filson used to be. And the great thing about Bradley Mountain is that they also have a ton of colors. And I have a couple Bradley Mountain bags. They are my prized possessions. And the nice thing, again, is that along with the colors, there are a ton of sizes. So if you want a really big kind of hiking style backpack with everything that you could ever want, they have those. They have more simple things. They have, you know, again, just look on there. There is almost something for everybody. I'll list a few of my favorites below, but small American brand that seemed like some really cool people. And I'm telling you, I've never heard a bad thing about their bags. And I think if you're somebody who maybe has shopped in malls your entire life, this would come out of left field and again, make you go, holy crap. A product that I began buying for my wife a while ago is Le Creuset products, and I started with their Dutch oven. Now, to give your wife a Dutch oven sounds bad, all right? And for some of you out there, you're snickering, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you know, we're talking about the actual cookware here. This is a product that, again, people pass down from generation to generation. So we have a few things now, you know, that she will use, and she loves them. Well, then we went to Montana and stayed at this very old homestead from like the 1930s. It was beautiful, wood hewn everything, just gorgeous. And they had the oldest Wolf stove I've ever seen with a set of Le Creuset pots and pans that looked like they might have been the first ones they ever made. And they worked beautifully. I loved seeing them all beat up and functioning just as if they were brand new. And it makes me think I made the right choice. So many people are into the idea of buying something once and having it for a long time, and in that way saving money. I think that the Dutch oven is probably the product that Le Creuset is best known for. But here's another thing, they do stand behind their products. I bought one for my wife, again, for a Christmas present not too long ago, and they ended up sending the wrong thing. It was like a set of mugs, like 12 mugs. And I said, this doesn't look like what I ordered. And they actually wrote back and said, you know what? It was our mistake. Keep the mugs, and we're gonna send your product overnight. A brand that will do that, I'll stand by anytime. Next up is something that's on my Christmas list, if you're watching and wanna know what I want for Christmas. Anyway, this is from Breeo, and look, I've seen a lot of crappy fire pits, okay? They're just, you know, stainless steel bowls for the most part. But this one is amazing. This is the X Series Smokeless Fire Pit, and oh, what a beautiful piece. Now, the nice one here is they have different sizes. So you have the X19, the X24, the X30, the X42. They are expensive. Now, this one I'm looking at here, this is the X30. It's 1,400 bucks. All right, so if that's too much, go to the next chapter. I get it, okay? But this is the kind of thing that, you know, I mean, you've seen smokeless fire pits or just fire pits before. This blows them all away. Made in the USA, limited lifetime warranty, free shipping. There better be free shipping for $1,400. And you can also get add-ons, so you could like cook on this thing if you wanted to. For a lot of people, especially with backyard stuff, if you don't want to just dig a fire pit, this is the way to go. You're gonna have it forever. It's made out of stainless steel. It's not going anywhere, and it's also just beautifully made. So heirloom indeed, right? This is the kind of thing that you're gonna have for a long time, or if you're gonna really, you wanna wow somebody with something, get them a $1,500 fire pit. That ought to do it. Now, I've already told you how much I love Leatherman, and I have 3 of them right here. This year, I bought the Leatherman ARC with the Magna Cut. Now, this is the top of the line model that they make. It has a Magna Cut main blade on it. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of my free P2 here. It's the next evolution of my old multi-tool, you know, super tool here. This is just kind of the new school, right? And I gotta tell you, it is an astoundingly beautiful piece. Really gorgeous stuff. Now, I think, again, the one I mentioned earlier for 125 bucks is probably all the multi-tool most people will need. The free P2 here is still incredible. But if you're looking for the top of the line, I got you the best one they make. The ARC is the way to go. Now, this thing ain't cheap. It's like 250 bucks. You know, you could buy 2 of the 125 model, but you want the best of the best? This is it. This last one comes with a bit of a story. My mom went to Sedona, and you know, my mom, even though I'm 44 years old, still brings me back a gift when she goes somewhere. And I'm like, Ma, you really don't have to do that. I'm old enough to buy my own stuff, but I guess moms are gonna mom. So she came back and she had an axe, which is not what she would usually have. But she said that she went into a really cool store down there and was talking to the shop owner, and he was, you know, showing her a few things, and she was really impressed by this axe. And it happened to be a Gränsfors Bruk small forest axe, and I was like, Ma, you know, you knocked it out of the park. I don't know if you realize how good of a gift this is, but holy crap. This in a lot of ways is the perfect size. It's, you know, I have it over there. I should go get it. Here it is. You know, I actually keep this thing up here because this doesn't belong in the garage. This is something that I take out when I need to use, and then I bring it right back up here. And so this is really, in my opinion, the perfect size because it could do a lot of different things. This could be used as a hatchet. You know, if you really choke up on it, you could do a lot of wood processing with that thing. But if you really have to, you know, grab it back on the handle, you could take down some decent size trees and limbs with this thing. And in my opinion, it's basically perfect. Now, these things are not cheap, but the good thing is that they are far more readily available than they were in the past. Back in the day, you'd have to go to a specialty shop or order it directly from Gränsfors Bruk themselves. But now, places like L.L.Bean actually carry these, so you can get them more readily than ever before. Again, you may not need this. This might not be your thing, but it just feels like a modern day heirloom. It really does. This is special. Now, finally, I'm gonna get a little real with you here, so, you know, bear with me, but the truth is that none of this crap matters, okay? Even my beloved axe and my, you know, my old Leatherman and stuff like that, none of this really matters. What actually matters is spending time with those you love, and that's the damn truth of it. If it meant that I had to save up to buy some of this stuff and miss out on time with family or friends, it's not worth it. Personally, I would rather spend time with you than to get something as a gift. And just being there, being in your family or your friends' lives and doing things together and living life. We only get one shot at this, is what is really important. So all this stuff, $1,500 smokeless fire pits or $15 Nalgene bottles, none of it matters. It's all crap. It's all junk that is just a nice little accessory on this journey we call life, but what really matters is spending time with the people that you care about. So please do that this holiday season. That's what really matters. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.